Two Iraqis have been flown to the UK by their lawyers to claim compensation for imprisonment by British troops during the Iraq War. Here are their allegations. One claimant wants £46,000 in compensation for reported assault, physical injuries and also post-traumatic stress disorder, which he says he suffered due to his imprisonment in 2003. The other demands over £200,000 for physical injuries and the earnings he lost during his imprisonment in 2007. This is the first case of its kind to reach the UK High Court, and a decision over it could set a precedent for about 600 similar cases too. Anti-war activist Christopher King says the money should come from the UK Ministry of Defence's budget.
Certainly they should be compensated if wrong has been done, and it's very difficult to know what will happen because it depends on how the court treats these two cases, but they will set a precedent. If there are 600 more cases waiting to see what happens, let us say, for example, that they are paid £100,000 each. It's a lot of money. The MOD budget for this year is 29 billion. That's billion. So personally, I think it should come out of the MOD budget and people will be more careful in future.
Well, as you heard there, the size of the compensation is also causing a lot of debate too. It is much higher than a regular UK war veteran would receive for similar or even worse injuries. For example, a UK soldier can expect compensation of around £6,000 for a fractured skull. At the same time, the Iraqi claimant wants 7 times more for psychiatric injuries that he says he received during detention. Christopher King again suggests the root of all the problems, though, lies in the motives behind the Iraq War.
There's been a great deal of publicity that our troops are not being compensated properly, and I rather believe that that's true, because our troops ought to be compensated for injuries, for deaths, compensation to their families, and there's a lot of evidence that that isn't occurring either. This is the terrible problem that occurs with any war, and particularly with this war, which we were led into on, let's face it, the basis of lies. The basic problem is whether they should have been there in the first place, and I don't believe they should have been. We all know now that the Iraq war was undertaken on false pretenses,